Well, I want to go over my personal concealed carry setup, and I got my own thoughts on things, and I think there's different purposes for different things. And actually, I don't want to give any politicians any ideas because God, these guys are ridiculous. But first off, I built this 1911 Colt Commander 9mm, right? So, and I did shoot it on the other channel, American Russian Survival, and it works great. I put there's 3 magazines. One's in it right now, not one in the chamber. There's just one magazine in there. There's 2 more, and I keep 8 in a 9-round magazine. And I tried each magazine with 8 rounds twice. Functioned fine. So all my little BS adjustments and stuff before I fired it worked out great. Now, when I'm at home, and if I keep this laying around, I do like to keep it in this leather holster because, see, you can't put your finger in a trigger guard, right? First off, you can pull it out of here real quick. Not with one hand, but the deal is that, there's not one in the chamber. You'd have to rack the slide, but I'm home, so, no big deal. The way I like to carry this is one in the chamber and hammer down, because I figure your hammer is like your safety, or it's like flipping off your safety is doing that, right? So I just checked it for make sure there was no round in there. There's a magazine in it. Let's put it in there. Anyway, the way I like to carry it is this is like on the side of me, slightly towards the back, but it's on the side of me. It's canted, like, not, this would be straight down. It's canted to the rear a little bit. In other words, even if the gun went off, it's no way it's going to hurt me, even if I sat down or something. I can get in my car and sit down and buckle my safety belt. Yet I could still access this because the safety belt goes right over this way. I could still get at it when I'm in the car. This was actually I use this belt for the Parazapper too. Sometimes I use the copper paddles and I put it behind there. I've made this so this Velcro doesn't ever come loose with a button that you can adjust. Threw that on there because, I suppose your Velcro gets worn out and the belt starts slipping off. And there's a police officer there, and all of a sudden you expose the weapon. Bam! You're done, right? That's why I'm afraid of concealed carry, because even if I don't do anything wrong, there's always something. Now, this was a cheap holster. This belt wasn't much money. This was from like Amazon. I sewed on this Marine grade vinyl, so the end of the weapon actually is all covered up in the back down here, right? I like that because there's no water that gets on it or perspiration. And I just use a few stitches of thread of polyester cord with the speedy stitcher to sew this in here, even though it's got a clip. This was a holster that cost, I don't know, like $12 from C.H. Cadell's. And I'll carry it hammered down. You can flip this up in a second and pull that down. It's like nothing. I mean, it takes like nothing. I mean, it's immediate almost, right? And pull it out, and you're all set. I don't have one in the chamber. Just checked it a freaking zillion times just a second before we got going on here. But you can also carry the 2 extra magazines in here. So you got 24 rounds. Now, the reason I like this better, you know what? Let me say this. If you were and I'm not saying this, boy, I always hate saying this because they're going to make a rule. Because I think if you conceal carry, do whatever the heck you want, right? Whatever weapon you want is a weapon, is fine. But more than likely, you can go around concealed carrying every day for 20 years and never run into one single problem, ever. That can happen, right? I mean, you have it only just in case. I personally do not like the weapons that have the safety in the trigger, right? Where they call that the safety. To me, that's ridiculous. A double action revolver would make a lot more sense than that damn thing. I don't like that. Now, I like that for Now, if you figure you're going to need it, like for law enforcement, well, I don't know about law enforcement needing it that much, but say you're in the military, right? You want that thing ready real quick. That makes a lot of sense. But if you're carrying this thing around for 20 years and you don't run into any problem, I don't want that extra. That's me. It's my opinion, you know. And this thing is like super quick to get ready. I know you should carry it locked and cocked, you know, pull it back and do that and do this and, you know, fire it and all this kind of crap, right? You should do it that way. But it's so quick to pull this back, it's ridiculous. It's almost like flipping off a safety, you know? So I carry it hammered down. And then I may or may not put this little thing over the thing that over here with the Velcro to hold the hammer down, because it's like getting ridiculously safe, you know? But it's still quick. It's still quick. And it is a 9mm. And somebody go, well, it's a little PB gun. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Crying out loud. But that's my theory on the whole deal. It works good. I didn't really target shoot with it, but I sighted it in with a laser bore sighter from like 25 feet. It was sighted in good from there. So, I mean, you know, I'm not. If you're carrying something concealed, you're not going to worry about it. You know, somebody 50 yards away from you, you're like 150 feet or something, you know. It's ridiculous. So that's why I look at it like that. I do like this setup, though. It's good. It's good. And I found out, I thought this was stainless steel. I thought it was supposed to be some kind of chrome moly steel or some garbage, you know, regular steel. And you're really supposed to paint this, put Cerakote on it or Duracoat, which is what I would use, the cheaper stuff. But, you know, I actually put some water on this. Then I stuck it in the case. And I looked at it the next day. I did this twice, and there was no rust. Nothing. And I says, maybe it's stainless steel. Then I was carrying it one day. It was really hot here in Florida. You can see a little bit, slight discoloration here. There was a real tiny amount of rust after a couple of days. Not pitting. The very slightest amount of rust. Maybe it is stainless steel. Maybe that's how stainless steel can rust, I guess, a little bit. But I decided I'm not painting this thing because it's like nothing goes wrong with it. I just put some oil on it. And now, when I put this in this little holster here, it's covered up on both sides anyway. And I sprayed some freaking barricade gun lube in there, inside of here. It ain't gonna rust. I ain't gonna mess with freaking putting any kind of paint on it, because if you put paint on it, it just chips anyway. Who cares, man? Freaking stupid thing works, man. I'm not like, I don't really care about being GQ and stuff. I mean, it looks good, though. I mean, it looks good like this. I mean, it's black, and it's got two colors of gray. Ooh, well, whatever. I mean, you know, it looks fine to me. Right, Rocky? Little boo-boo down here. So, and I'm only carrying ball ammo. Now, I don't want to make... Yeah, I know somebody just say, why don't you carry the... I know, I even got those, what do you call those, black talons or whatever the hell they are. So I got them left over from the super expanding ammo. I got those from like a million years ago. I can even carry some of that crap. I got some of that at home, you know, for the other 9mm. But, you know, in the military, I know to get the Geneva Convention, you're not supposed to kill anybody. You're supposed to only put them and hurt them and put them in the hospital so the enemy has to take resources to help them. That's their, yeah, it's so full of shit, the freaking theories they got on war, right? These eggheads in Geneva. So they only have ball ammunition. Well, ball ammunition is still good. And that's what I tested the weapon with. I'm going to test it again. I'm going to test it with the hollow points later, my reloads and stuff. And fine. But 9mm ball is freaking good. It's nothing really wrong with it, so, you know. I mean, people get into so much crap about all these, and this thing is what I would probably like a little bit. You know, I might get they're very hard to find. I was looking at a Versa 9mm Ultra Compact, and I got the magazines for it, but they're constantly on back order. If you order one, 6 months from now, it'll still be on back order. It's a compact version of the full-size one that the Argentine military uses. It bursts kind of like Beretta. I think a lot of the people from Beretta came over to burst. It looks like a Beretta. It reminds me of Beretta. It's kind of like it's got the same thing where you flip up the safety and whatever. And you, same kind of deal as a Beretta 9. And I said, that's cool because I'm used to it. And that was another reason I chose this 1911 thing, because I'm used to it. Now I got to engrave it. I know you don't have to put a number on it, but I'm going to probably put something like General Lee 01 or GEN Lee or CSA 1861 or something. Whatever. But this thing came out good. And actually I tried to make the grip safety so if you just touch it, like maybe a 64th of an inch, it would be disengaged so you can fire it, because I hate these grip safeties. That's one thing. If you pull this thing out and you don't have a good grip on it, it doesn't work, right? Or if you're just, so say you're a concealed carry and you're like, just pull it out. I'm holding it kind of funny and I don't have a good grip on it, or have it like this or something. It's not going to work, right? So I wanted to have it so this can only push down maybe a 64th of an inch or a 32nd of an inch. And I did have it like that, but then when I adjusted everything else, basically this grip safety doesn't work. It's disabled, which is fine. It don't matter because actually John Browning, when he originally designed this, there was no grip safety. That was an Army thing they put in after. And no weapon has grip safeties. You see any, think of this thing as like a revolver. Except it's not double action on the first shot. It's like, well, sort of like, in other words, if you have a single action 1861 Navy Army revolver or something like that, 1873, whatever the hell they are, you got to pull a hammer back and shoot it, right? There's no grip safety. I mean, it's the same kind of deal with this, and that's why I don't really care about carrying it hammered down. I mean, if you had a revolver and it wasn't double action, you'd have to carry it hammer down. Or if it was double action, you can pull the trigger and it's like a long pull, right? It's a hard pull. I don't know. And I guess the only other reason I'm used to this thing. I'm used to the 1911 and the Beretta M9. So I'm used to them and they work. And this one's smaller. It's lighter than the full-size one in steel. It is concealable, no problem. And then if I'm too lazy to take this out, I just take out that little Beretta 22. The little 22 with the Bobcat with the little pop-up barrel. I take that one out. That's where that one's easy. Just put it in your pocket, it's easy. I'm too lazy to take this one out. But I got different thoughts on, actually I think the 380 is probably one of your best ones to have a concealed carry with, because you can get a smaller weapon. That makes a lot of sense. But I don't feel like messing with another caliber, because I don't have like these 380s that look like 9mm. I'm saying which ones, one's a little shorter than the other one. You use the same reloading dies, but it's just more pain in the butt. And I like keeping things simple. That's why I like the ARs, because the AR, these politicians don't like them. Why don't we just all paint the rifles pink or chartreuse violet or some crap or something, and the politicians can say, we hate those pink and violet rifles, instead of painting them black. Maybe that'll freaking be a nice media thing for the AR-15. But I like the AR-15 because it comes in, you can make it into a 22 long rifle, like with a kit. You can make this into a 22 long rifle with a kit, which is another reason I might build another one, making it 22. And you can, you got the 6.5 Grindel. I got one of those, which is a great hunting round, and it's an awesome rifle that can handle weather and junk. You can put, you got this 5.5, the 5.56 or the NATO, and you got the 7.62 by 39, which is like the AK round. Then you got the 6.8 Grindel. There's like another, you got the 300 Blackout. You have here's another one that's like, it's like a 25 caliber. I forgot what the hell you call it again. Then there's another, you can actually put the 50 BMG upper on it. and you got the 50 Beowulf. I mean, like, in other words, an AR-15, it's like, that's like, that weapon does everything. I mean, because it's like, AKs, you can't do that stuff with, man. I mean, that's why I like ARs, because ARs are freaking good enough. I mean, you can make them stronger and more reliable. So, and that's why I like these things, these 1911s. But like I said, you know, if somebody would have said, I guess they got the 2011 with the double stack, that's a contender for a military pistol, right? But I don't know, like, you know what I mean? I mean, there's different purposes for every damn thing. This is, to me, it's good. It's simple. I mean, now that I built this thing, I understand every part on it. Like, if I buy a Versa, I don't know how to take that stupid thing apart. I don't know. I mean, hopefully it doesn't ever breaks, because I heard they're really reliable. But that's why I wouldn't want to buy, like, a Ruger semi-automatic or an S&W semi-automatic or any of those damn things. I pretty much stick whatever the freaking military issues, man, because they got a gazillion of them around. Even if it's not the very best design, it's never freaking really screwed up. If it's been in the military a long time, it ain't bad. I mean, that's what you could say about the 1911, you know. Yes, it has been supplanted by Glocks, and yeah, and I actually personally think the Beretta 9mm would probably be better one to have for the military still with the improved magazines. It's the 17 rounders. But let's say, you know, hey cat, this guy's cracks me up, little freaking Rocky down there. But these guys are my lifelong companions here forever. But the deal is, you know, I'm a very pragmatic person. It's like, you know, if I don't want too much complexity, I'd rather have like 3 different or 4 different AR-15s in different calibers, and I'd rather have a few of these in different, you know, if one's a 9mm, one's a 22 long rifle, one's a 45 or whatever. I'd rather have it that way. When you're getting all these different brands and stuff, it's more confusing. And then you gotta, it's like, if you get familiar with this thing, like the AR-15, I can take that all apart. I mean, I know everything about it, know every little freaking detail, everything. You know, I mean, sure, I can learn something else, but why do I want to do that? Ugh. You know? That's why I look at it, you know? So I kind of, and you know, they're not, like, the AR-15 is not limited to, you know, the 5.56, just like this 1911 is not limited to the 45. You got this, you got the 9mm, you got the 40 S&W, the 45, you got a 22 long rifle kit, which admittedly is kind of a big, you know, pistol for a 22. Well, it still freaking works. They got good kits for these things. And they even have like the officer one, the one that's even smaller than this. And it's like, you know, it's a 1911, it's probably about this big and about that high. Got the 380, the 380. So, but this is how I carry it. I have it canted back, so on my hip. It's actually on a side towards my hip, but it's on the side. It's not all the way on my hip. And it's canted back. So even if the gun went off, even if I sat down, no matter what, I found it, I worked on this for a while. That's why I got all these threads all over the place. And this holster, even though it's cheap, is fast and it fits perfect. And, oh yeah, the sight in the front. I actually took the edge off the corner, and the sharp edge off of here with a file, and I said, well, maybe that's not quite as good for target shooting, but I don't want anything hanging up. Nothing does hang up. It pulls right out real quick. And this thing does work slick as snot, so. But that's my, you see, and like I don't like the safety in the trigger. I mean, yeah, I know that's just like a revolver in a way, you know. You have a long pull, but basically that's, I don't know. I personally would rather carry a revolver than for concealed carry than I would one of those, you know, S&W body shield, whatever the hell it is, Glock this and whatever, you know what I mean. All these striker fire things, I don't like those damn things. I don't know, I just don't like them. I mean, I think they make a lot of sense for the military. They make a lot of sense when you need it right away. Yeah, which is the case with possibly you might need it for, you know, here. But, you know, I always look at it, I got like a way bigger margin of safety with the hammer down, with this thing over the hammer, and I can still pull it out within a second and have it ready. I mean, because it's like when you put your hand over this, it just goes like that while you're pulling it out, and just coming down, it's all as it's coming out. It's like just as fast as anything. Yet there's no way in hell this weapon's going off with the hammer down. No way in hell this is not going to pull back accidentally, because you got this offer that I don't see how it would anyway. And on top of it, the trigger is guarded completely by the sheath. So nobody's going to stick your finger in it. You know, it just isn't going to go off. I've seen some accidents with those Glocks of that type, with the striker fire type. And like I said, if I was in the military, I would definitely take the Glock or that type, #1. Especially the plastic frames, polymer frames, not subjected to any kind of corrosion or something like that. Definitely. But like I said, you might conceal carry 20 years, 30 years, or 50 years, and never run into a problem at all, ever. So, you know, I got extra margins of safety, and it doesn't take me any more time to take the stupid thing out and use it if I had to, you know. I don't want to use it. But if you pulled it out fast enough, whoever the hell's going to mess with you is not going to mess with you anymore, right? So that's the whole idea behind it. But like I said, just take my words with it. You know, like, in other words, I'm looking at it like you got to, like, you know, my thing is, it depends on what your application is. You know? Like, if you're going into some an area that you know there's danger, you probably want to have it just a little more ready than this, you know? And you probably would want to take something with, you know, an Uzi pistol with 35 rounds in, or 30 rounds in, or something, too. You know, that's a different story. So, you know, I don't know. To me, this is plenty enough for freaking concealed carry. And, you know, the fact that it's a little bit bigger than some of the concealed carries is better, because it's easier to point this damn thing. You know what I mean? These ones that are about this big, they start, you know, you point them. But, you know, I can tell you one thing. That little Beretta that's about this big, man, you better be about 10 feet away before you hit somebody with that thing, unless you're really aiming. Because it's got such a freaking short sight radius. This thing you can pretty much point aim. And the recoil on this isn't crap. I noticed this thing, the 9mm, this thing doesn't have hardly any recoil. I was just shooting in one hand, kind of quick. Not much recoil at all. That's on my American Russian Survival channel. It's freaking, it ain't bad at all, man. This is a sweet shooting gun, man. I can tell you that right now, pistol. But like I said, at home, I don't keep one in a chamber, and I have it in here, and the hammer's down, but I can get ready inside of a second half. You know? I mean, with two hands. I mean, you can't you can't pull the slide back in one hand. But that's why when it's in here, concealed carry, there's one in the chamber, but the hammer's down, and I can get it ready with one hand in a second and a half. And it does, the position on this, being on my side, slightly to the rear, and canted like that, makes it real easy to grab and pull out. It's real easy. So, it's a great setup, but I doubt I'll ever need it. To tell you the truth. Over and out.